Hi, this is Susanna Barton. I'm the founder of the Grand Plans online community and podcast. And today we have a very special guest in the studio. Her name is Joanne Hickox, and she's the executive director and founder of a Jacksonville, Florida based nonprofit called Seniors on a Mission. And it's a wonderful organization. They take seniors out into the community to do hands on volunteer service work that is very fulfilling for everyone who participates. And they also do some really neat outreach with getting technology instruction out into the community, so seniors have access to some better instruction on technology. But the best thing they've got going on is a vision of a residential living situation. It's a community called G3, and I'll let you get into the podcast to learn what the three G's stand for. But it's really kind of a cutting edge thought on senior housing. So I'll let Joanne get into that, and thanks for being with us today.
I just gotta go ahead.
All right. All right. Well, Joanne Hickox,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
And we are talking live from, you're in Canada, and there's some snow on the ground.
Yes.
There's some rain on the ground here in Jacksonville, Florida. But anyway, I'm glad we could get together through the seasons and have a little talk about Seniors on a Mission and your G3 vision.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know Joanne, she is the executive director and head of Seniors on a Mission, which is a Jacksonville-based nonprofit that does wonderful work. And I'm going to get her to talk a little bit more about that mission. And then we'll move quickly into this vision for a G3, which is an incredible idea and opportunity for senior living. And there's some kind of breaking news on that front too. So let's jump right in. Joanne, tell me a little bit more about Seniors on a Mission and what y'all do for seniors in our community.
Well, first of all, thank you, Susanna, for having me on. I appreciate it. For 25 years, Seniors on a Mission has taken independent living senior adults on day-long service trips. We call them mission trips because, you can't necessarily go to Africa and build an orphanage at 90 years old.
Right.
But you can serve a local nonprofit. We've done everything from, and we're talking about teams of 15 to 50 people who will show up at a local nonprofit. For quite a while, we bust people, and we will repair clothing for senior adults or for anybody. We'll repair them for the homeless, but we'll do stuffing racing bags and creating student manuals, anything that requires hands-on time and a lot of work. The seniors get together and do, and we create it in such a way like we create a way of making it going around in a circle.
Right.
So every stage of it is done by a different table. And the really cool thing is, all you got to do is one part of the project. And you don't have to think about it. You just do this one part. So you get to talk to everybody at that table.
Yeah.
And the work gets done, hours go by, and all of a sudden, thousands of something has been done, and it's all done correctly. And they have a riot.
Yeah, and it's providing purpose, right? For the.
Well, I was about to say, we wipe out isolation, loneliness, depression. It gives everybody a purpose, and they feel, you can just see them get kind of I did this today. And it's a really great thing because all the work that they do, typically the value of that is $100 or $150 per person
Right.
because of the amount of time that they give. Because right now, the value of a volunteer hour is more than $25.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible. And I know that y'all are doing some other work too with technology, mobile technology,
Yes.
helping folks with that, and a couple of other things.
Well, when the pandemic hit, no seniors were allowed to get together in groups, which was really very disappointing. And a lot of the seniors received a new cell phone or a new tablet, and they didn't know how to use it.
Mhm.
So we got a mobile unit and started traveling all throughout Northeast Florida. And we will park it in one place and we will have up to 20 appointments where seniors can have one-on-one time with a trainer where the phone never leaves their hand. And we help them maneuver and learn how to use at least two new things every time they come.
Right.
So we don't overwhelm them, but we make sure that they understand the safety of how to use a technology device because there's a lot of scams out there.
Hmm.
But also give them the freedom to text somebody or learn how to FaceTime with somebody and stay connected with people in a
Right.
totally different way, using it for more than just a phone.
That connection is so key, and to embrace that technology, and use part of a different part of your brain too to learn some
Absolutely.
new things. So I think that's wonderful and fills such a void and a need. And then I know, can we bridge into how Seniors on a Mission is kind of, or you're taking things into a whole new dimension with this idea for senior housing or senior living?
Well, senior housing actually has been on our heart for 25 years
Hmm.
because when we started the program of Seniors on a Mission, where we did service opportunities, they always were so excited to be there. They booked their doctor's appointments around, making way for that mission opportunity and service opportunity. But they always went home and they were always in a home that they might have raised their four kids in it.
Hmm.
They were alone, they were isolated, they had this fabulous day, but then they waited another 2 weeks for another fabulous day. um but they were always alone at their own homes, so we always knew if we were going to truly change the way seniors age and make it successful, we had to start in the housing. It had to be deeper than just a program. So it really only became, well, 5 years ago, we did our strategic plan and housing was in the plan at the time. Then
Hmm.
COVID hit, the world all changed and everything. But we always kept an eye on that. In the midst of all of the last 5 years, I've been walking my mom through a cancer walk, and I lost her last year. But 2 years prior, 2.5 years prior to losing her, my dad, as I was sitting on the driveway, because it was COVID, we had to not be around each other. Um, so I was sitting on the driveway, and my dad just kind of, as he was walking around me to go to the shop, he said, "Joanne, don't worry about me. I'm just going to go live over there." And well, he has had a home next door to an old age home, and I wouldn't let a dog live there at the
Hmm.
time. It was not a good place. And so I was like, okay, what are we going to do about moderate income housing? Because there is, there's, there's HUD and it helps low income.
Hmm.
There's high end, expensive, and there are people that have the means to afford that.
Right.
But there's a lot of people right in the middle that can't apply for this and that wouldn't necessarily want to
Right.
and can't afford this without losing their entirety of their wealth to a senior living community.
Hmm.
They want to be able to leave something to their children's children. And so that's where we're at. And
Right.
so in that
We saw
desire,
something missing there in the middle.
Yeah, and we've always been something in the middle. We've always been something that was different than everything else. So we, because I was born and raised on a farm,
Mhm.
I understand the value of, well, hold on for just one second. Part of aging successfully is also eating well.
Yes.
And so many seniors do not eat well. They
Right.
eat out of a box, and anything that you buy in a box has chemicals, has additives, has junk. It's not healthy.
Hmm.
If you go and buy enough to make a nice varied, they always say lots of color on your plate. Well, if you
Right.
go and buy lots of color, it's all, if you're a single older adult who doesn't eat a whole lot to start with, it's all gone bad.
Yeah.
So we wanted to create a place where they could live, where they could grow their food, raise their own chickens and eggs and all of that, and try to eat healthier than they've ever eaten and be active in their own and create an opportunity where people could live in community but still have their individual opportunities. So it was quite a blend. And I will say, I think we found it.
Well, it's very exciting. And I feel like it also blends to what you have been doing with Seniors on a Mission, which is creating purpose and community and social opportunities. But now we're getting to a whole new combination of it all. So tell me about what's on the horizon and how this is taking shape.
Well, we were offered a piece of land and it should have, we should have received it a
Hmm.
month ago. And we waited a year, over a year for it. And we got a text saying, we apologize, but we're going to give this to another nonprofit.
Oh,
And so
shame.
that was crushing. That was a long wait, but we did a lot of design and a lot of, figuring it all out, getting the budgets all planned out. And it was a great period of time. And then I was I was looking for a home for myself for a totally different reason, and I thought, oh, I'm going to look on Zillow to see if I can find land to build. Let's build it rather than getting it donated. Can we
Mhm.
buy it?
Right.
So I was looking from $100,000 to $200,000 range. Found a really nice piece of land for 10 acres in our price range. Turns out 9 acres of it was swamp, so
Mhm.
that didn't work.
Welcome to Florida. Yeah.
But way outside of the range that we were looking in, this $1.7 million piece of property came up. And I was like, why is this in the scan? I don't understand. It shouldn't have searched and found that. Well, turns out it's a hobby farm. It is a privately owned piece of property that has everything we wanted to build. It's got it's got chickens, it's got a barn, it's got workspace, it's got a woodworking shop, it's got a maintenance shop, it's got housing, it's got everything
Right.
and tons of grow space, and it's 40 acres, 10 of which is usable, but the other area it's in the flood zone. There's a
Mhm.
small part of it that's wetlands, but there's a whole central area that has been used for nothing that we could use for the chickens, for the cattle, for the goats can eat down anything and
Mhm.
clear property for us. Aquaponics, hydroponics. I mean, everything is possible. And when we went and I looked at the property,
And
I took
Joanne, where is this and how close is it to, transportation, medical facilities, that kind of thing?
it's 5 miles south of Callahan.
Okay.
So it's in the country,
Hmm.
but it's 22 miles from downtown, or pardon me, 18 miles from downtown Jacksonville,
Okay.
22 minutes from the airport, and 8 miles from an emergency hospital,
Right.
the small version, you
Mhm.
know. Um, I mean, it's
Has
close enough to
everything.
everything, and it's far enough away to be country.
Mhm.
And, it's meant to be a farm, a working farm, but it's also supposed to be a community, a village of people that love each other and have space together and
Mhm.
have space separate.
Right.
So we're very excited. And Callahan is in Nassau County, and we've already met with the Nassau zoning people, and they love our concept.
That's
So if
fantastic.
the neighbors love our concept, we're off and running.
Yeah, that's awesome. And can you tell me a little bit more? How does it? What's your vision for the housing and how people live and how they invest and if I wanted to live there, what am I talking about in terms of how I would pay for it,
Okay.
what my housing would look like, and all of those
Well,
good things.
there's a beautiful home that's already on the property. We want to match the village to the home. So it would
Okay.
have a brick front and pillars, and then it would round it about. But the concept is that the housing would all be in a U shape,
Mhm.
and everybody would have their own exterior entrance. And then as you go through the area that you live in, you'd have an interior door that takes you to the dining room and the kitchen area and the joint community area. So
Right.
everyone has the opportunity. The concept right now is we wanted to make it affordable for renting. That
Okay.
it would that and the all-inclusive. Now, you can't quote me on the price because we haven't got it all built yet, but
Right.
we're aiming for like 2,200 minimum
Mhm.
rent per month, a maximum of maybe 36, but that includes their rent, their utilities, and all the food they can eat.
Okay. And volunteerism is a part of this as well?
Yes. A part of the rent above and beyond the financial cost is a minimum of 10 hours of service. So you can collect the eggs, you can wash the dishes, you can cook, you can feed the goats, you can whatever. You can answer the phone for the office.
All right.
10 hours minimum.
All right. And have you seen this in other markets? And I know this is a little different than maybe what is currently available in other markets that you've seen.
Most markets that are developing like this
Mhm.
are you buy them.
Right.
And we may do a buy-in to get
Mhm.
it built. And then, 50% of that would be given back afterwards. But we're talking like 50 to $100,000 as opposed to like right now, the $500,000 buy-in isn't unusual at some of these CCRC senior living places. Now, ours is not a CCRC, it is
Right.
independent living. It is meant to age in place.
Hmm.
And the concept is that you should be able to bring in any of the health services that you need up into a certain level. And if you need to move to an assisted living, then we understand that. But there's so many health services that are available brought into where you live
Right.
that you can pretty well. Listen, my mom died at home and she wanted it that way.
Yes. Right.
So
And why is this a better strategy option for this, middle section that we're talking about of people than what may be available now? What makes it different? What makes it more attractive and perhaps more healthy um, for
well,
senior adults in this
definitely more
area?
healthy because most this is a community
Mhm.
of anywhere from 25 to 40 people. Um, you don't typically get to know more than 40 people. When you live in a place that's much larger, you end up having 5 or 6 friends that live in the same place.
Mhm.
We're talking about creating a family of 25 to 35 people that would all know each other and they all work together. And while introverts may want to have their quiet time all alone, that's perfectly fine. But they can also join in and be a part of the community. It's active living. It is not sit in your little space. Yes, they're going to have a place where they rent and it won't take away when they sell their house, they don't have to, like for HUD housing, you have to be essentially without housing for 5 years. Like you cannot have owned a home for 5 years. to be eligible. Well, when people sell their house, they don't want to give the money to the government. They want to be able to put it in the bank and allow their children to have it after they're gone. We want to make it so that they can practically live on their Social Security and whatever. They might have a small pension, but that money would be kept for them. The goal is to keep them financially safe and physically safe and emotionally growing as an older adult. And, some people have said, I have always been this way my entire life. Well, no, darling, you don't have to be that negative.
Mm-hmm.
We can grow emotionally, and but if you live alone and you don't have the opportunity to be with another human being and work out some of those things, or even just talking about some things, they get when things run around in your head and they upset you and disappoint you, and if you've got somebody to talk to, what a
Mm-hmm.
joy.
Right.
Because, you know, we our joys get multiplied and our sorrows get divided. And I believe that when we live together, and just the ability to have reminders of friends to drink more water.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest reasons people end up in um, assisted living is they get dehydrated.
Right.
And that's a huge problem because when you get dehydrated and you're taking certain medications, if you don't drink enough fluids, those medications can really screw up your system.
Right.
So,
So a
you know,
community helps with checks and balances, just with
absolutely.
everything, I would think. Having people nearby who are of like mind and
On each other.
yeah, right.
Hey,
So,
Kate, so and so didn't show up for breakfast this morning. What's going on?
right.
I mean, and maybe they just slept in, but maybe they
Right.
didn't.
So, Joanne, how close is this vision to being reality, and what do you need to see happen next to make it so?
Well, I'm one major donor away from starting the entire project.
That is so
Um,
exciting.
It is $15.5 million. It
Okay.
is the project in total. And this is a nonprofit adventure. And
Mhm.
we are trying to make sure that the entire thing is paid for, because once it's paid for, the rents and the sale of some of our organic products and our honey and, beeswax and quilts and things that we're going to be doing, all
Right.
of that money goes back in to making sure that the rent stays low and that it will be sustainable and take care of itself and be able to, put enough money aside to fix the roof when the roof needs fixing. So we have, from what we've figured, as soon as it's paid for, it's sustainable forever.
Mhm. That's so exciting. So, how can people help? How can folks get involved with making this a reality for
Well,
society?
obviously, we need that one key donor to start us, because the land is available right now. We'd like to secure the land because we can instantly start, because there's already housing available there. We will build an additional housing, but the whole concept of the village is there and ready. We just need the 1.5 million to get it started.
Right.
Um, then, I mean, they need to call me. Um, my cell phone number is 509-4784 for and 904 area code. Call me.
Will you say
Um,
that one more time, Joanne, just in case?
904
Mhm.
509 4784 is the Seniors on a Mission cell phone.
Okay, great.
And once they've contacted me, I will do a Zoom call to show them everything about the village, what we have planned versus what's already there.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'll share the whole concept with them. And they can also go on to the Giving God Glory,
Okay.
G3village.org.
Well, I was wondering what G3 stood for, and I could not find that in my research. So I'm so glad that you said that. It's giving God the glory. Yes.
Yipper.
Hey,
And we
mystery
want to do
solved.
that about everything at that location. About body, soul, and spirit. We just want to give God glory. It's like, yay!
I love it. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I there's so much good ahead, and I wish you all the best in making this the reality that it needs to be. And I look forward to sharing some of this with my little community, so that maybe never know what happens. But I really appreciate your time in telling your story and the
And
vision, sharing the
may
vision.
I share one more short story?
Yes,
I
please.
just want to let you know that the seniors, a lot of seniors that I work with, that I have worked with over the last 25 years, are in HUD housing.
Mhm.
And they want desperately to help bring this to come to be. And they can't give anything, but they said, we'll the work of our hands. What can we do to help you? So I just want to let you know that we have a group of seniors who have already created a design, and we're looking to create a little t-shirt workshop for them to be able to create t-shirts and sell their wares, and that donation will go towards G3 Village. So
That's exciting.
that's a little tidbit, and I can tell you more about that another time, but it's a way that they can give back and also support the housing for years to come.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, I can't wait to hear more about that and see more of this come to fruition. I think it fills such a void, and having purpose for everyone is important, but especially as we get older and our communities get smaller. And I think that's so wonderful. That's checking so many boxes. This G3 community. Um, So I'm going to turn this little recording off, and thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today in this season 3, episode 6 Grand Plans podcast. I encourage anyone to go to see a little bit more about the G3 project on the Seniors on a Mission website, and that's seniorsOnAmission.org. And there's a special tab for G3. And give Joanne a call. She'd love to talk to you if you're interested in learning more about ways you can support the project. Thanks again for being with us today.